We are going to be answering the question how to manage your mortgage pipeline efficiently with more conversions. We're joined by Craig Skelton today. He is a mortgage broker coach. He's also a owner of firms. He is very equipped to talk about today's topics.
Your job as a mortgage broker is to get the mortgage offer out. That is what your job is. CRM's the key, because if you can get the right workflow, it will make things so much easier for you. You've got to follow up until you are told to F off and go away. Yeah.
Craig, welcome to the video. I just want to jump straight in with the first question, which is, can you walk us through the key stages of a mortgage pipeline and share how each stage could be optimized for a smoother transition and conversions as brokers?
It starts as soon as the client signed up. As soon as that mortgage application is submitted, then it goes into your progression pipeline. Your workflow, if you're looking to have a workflow within your business, or your CRM's got a workflow, it's about managing it through and thinking about the stages from a point of view of what the next part. So I do that today. I've submitted the case. What's the next thing that's going to happen? How long does that normally take to happen? And having that followed up to make sure that you're managing it effectively. It's the solicitors, it's the conveyances, it's the valuations, it's all those nitty-gritty bits that we know we have to do. What tends to happen and what can be the mindset is that your job as a mortgage broker is to get the mortgage offer out. That is what your job is. It's not to chase a solicitor, not to get the title deeds, and not to get all the other things that come with the buying and selling of a home. Your fundamental job is to get the mortgage offer out, and clients need to understand that, because you will go up and above and beyond that, but clients need to know that that's what your job is. So when they're bugging you about the solicitor not getting back to them, that's great, and you can deal and can help them where you can. But fundamentally, that's the solicitor's job. But they'll contact you because you're the ones they can get hold of.
What role do you find technology plays, specifically, for example, CRM systems and things like that? How important are they in playing a role in your pipeline management for you and your firm? What's your experience on that?
CRM's the key, because if you can get the right workflow, it will make things so much easier for you. So if you've got tasks, to-do lists, if you come in the morning and you know exactly what you've got to do that day, because it's part of the workflow with your CRM, technology is vital because you can automate a lot of things. I know people that use Todoist and Trello that's integrated with that to then get the workflow, because their CRM doesn't offer that. But if your CRM can do it, and again with clients with interaction with the portal, if you've got a portal or an app or something like that interacts with the client, when you're ticking the box, say the valuation's back, they get a notification. You don't need to make that call. It's just tick the box, clients get notified, and move on to the next stage.
From your experience, what have been some of the common mistakes that mortgage brokers make in their pipeline management that could actually hinder the conversions?
I think it's just not acting on things that happen within the pipeline. So they're not nice things that happen, like down valuations. Lender says no, you don't park that for another week until you need to make that call. But don't put off what needs to be done with regards to the pipeline, because the quicker the client knows about it, and if it's something that needs to happen, if they then know that case was declined a week ago and you've not made that call, but they find out, because they can find out decline, that's not building a long-term relationship with the client. Whereas if you're proactive with it, dealing with it, and then looking for the next solution. So it's like NatWest have come back with a decline. However, we know they can replace it with Santander and they've already started the process. Whereas if the client gets an email or call or something from NatWest saying your mortgage is declined, and then they're ringing you as a broker, you're on the back foot. Don't be on the back foot.
How much of that do you think is the fact that people are maybe fearful of having awkward conversations, negative conversations?
The fear of rejection is a massive thing, Ash, and it's not taking things personally. And I think that you've got to understand that these things will happen. This is part of being a mortgage broker. You are going to be uncomfortable. That's the life as a mortgage broker. You've got to have conversations that aren't going to be nice. Oh, I found a house, or I've had my offer accepted, or your mortgage offer out. All the stuff that's sandwiched in between that, you've got to deal with. You just don't take things personally. You're there to service the client. You give them the best service you possibly can, and making sure that you're having those not nice conversations as well as the nice conversations.
How important is it for mortgage brokers to maintain a consistent follow-up with prospects in the pipeline? And then on top of that, what are some of the best practices for follow-up communication?
I've always said, when I was a broker, you've got to follow up until you are told to F off and go away. That's
That's your style. I love that saying.
That is it. You F you until you get FO. But then you've got the closure, you've got that there, you've got that. No, Craig, I will never use you as a mortgage broker. Somebody that I started coaching recently, they were sort of saying, you just follow up, you just message me every single month, just see how I'm doing. I inquired a year ago about coaching, but you just message me, and so you just follow. I am genuinely interested in what you're doing. You've got to follow up until you've got to know. There needs to be a follow-up date. There needs to be something there. Whatever you get from that client, until it's a yes or it's a no, there is some follow-up in the diary. Stop second guessing what the client's going to say or what the client's going to think. Who cares? Send the message, pick up the phone and call them. Just get on with it, because the quicker you've got to know, the quicker you can then move on to the next thing.
Automation is becoming a big thing nowadays, massively in the mortgage industry, in many industries, but really in mortgages. How can mortgage brokers use automation to enhance their pipeline management? From your experience, where do you think this could play a role?
You strip your process out from start to finish and think, actually, could that be automated? With clients, it's about how many times you touch them during the process. Sometimes they need that personal touch. Sometimes you just need that automated touch, just knowing that you're there. So valuation's back. It's all okay. Just get that into an automated email. Good news is you had your offer accepted at £250,000. Survey's back. It takes a bit of time, but once you've got them in your process, just do it, because you work a lot smarter.
On that point, obviously the world is rushing towards automation in an alarming rate. Do you think that sometimes brokers should maybe just sit back a bit and go, maybe not try to automate everything, because personal touch is still very important?
The personal touch is why people reach out to brokers in the first place. That it's that personal thing that they're needing. So it's getting that fine balance between, I never speak to my clients and I just send them everything and everything's automated, to actually I do everything myself and I micromanage everything. Neither ends of the spectrum are correct, but it is getting that balance right with that right client.
How should mortgage brokers, in your opinion, go about prioritizing leads within the pipeline? When do you focus on ones that are more likely to convert? How do you identify those? I think these are questions that many people always want to know the answers to, because it can be hard to chase a dud sometimes and it's not really going to be good. And then there's some big payers that are like left on the table that probably should have been pushed. How do you go about doing that, and how do you advise people to do that?
It's about always having that follow-up thing in the diary. In terms of when should you do it, it's going to be down to that client. In terms of some things we know that once you've got the mortgage offer out, you're not going to touch that client. You don't have to technically touch that client again till it completes. So you're talking about protections, pipeline cases that I've signed up and I've submitted the mortgage application who are not yet completed. Every single week you should have something, because you're always going to get those ones that are going to fight fire. You're going to have the down valves that hit you today and all the things and the no's and stuff like that. So it is about prioritizing those ones, because you've got to make sure that they're resubmitted and the case is back swimming.
How involved should the broker be in managing the pipeline versus an administrator?
If you're a self-employed advisor that has an administrator to help you progress the case, you've got a client, your pipeline is your income. Fundamentally, if that is your income and you need to pay your mortgage, you've got your bills and to feed your kids and everything else, if you want to sort of let that go to somebody else's responsibility, that is your call. Don't be surprised if that doesn't quite work out how you want it to be. If you've got lucky enough to have an administrator, you've still got to know exactly where your pipeline cases are, reviewing it at least once a week. You can't just go to them, oh, my administrator's like, now, everything's done. I've done the fact find, they've submitted the case, they're progressing the case, and they'll let me know when it's offered. You're the broker. The client came to you for a reason in the first place, and they came to you not because you've got amazing admin support or because they came to you because they wanted to deal with you and be with you. And that is obviously setting boundaries at the beginning with the client, but from a business point of view, they've got to have that personal touch from you throughout the whole process.
What are the key performance indicators that you should be monitoring?
The first thing is knowing what your pipeline value is. You need to know exactly what you've got. So you look at your proc fee, broke fees, protection value, all the things that's not yet complete. So I'll use simple terms just so so if you've got a £30,000 pipeline, you should be getting paid on a third of that pipeline, or roughly 30%. So if you've got a £30,000 pipeline, You know this month you should get paid 10 grand. That's what the numbers should be coming out. So a third of your pipeline should be coming out. Now that can fluctuate a little bit, as we know, with cases and stuff like that. But roughly speaking, I know as a business what my pipeline is right now. I know from the first of the month what the pipeline is, something I track every single month. And I know, thinking, okay, well, if that's what our pipeline is, we should be coming out with this amount of businesses, banked, issued, whatever you want to complete on, whatever the case may be. So that's the thing, is looking at, is your pipeline coming out? So is a third of your pipeline coming out, or 30% roughly speaking? The other thing to look at as well is that tracking your business submitted to business then that you're getting paid on. The world of averages in the mortgage broker space, a third of business falls off. That's the normal average. So you write 10 grand, a third of it's not going to come out. Well, you want to be better than that. And I always track that. So if I'm looking at, if you wrote, say, 10 grand, your written to issue should be 85%. So what I'm saying is that the law of the world said a third of your business will fall off. You should have the expectation that maximum of 15% should fall off. You should be working to, people will always, the house sale will fall through, or the protection might get rated or declined, all these other things. So from what you submit, that value of that case, when you submit it, so then coming out at the end and you looking at numbers, 85% of what you write should come out the other side and you get paid on.
I'll have calls with people and I'm like, what are your numbers? And they don't know their numbers. Do you think that this is something that people, from your experience, struggle with? Or do you have, from your experience, having, worked, coached people both in corporate and out of corporate, because you've done it for your entire career, are people quite good with these kind of KPIs, these figures, these numbers, these pipelines? Because pipelines are that. This is not like a sexy topic, but it's a really good topic because you are very well equipped to talk about this.
It's a great topic. No, numbers are good.
So do you think people should address the numbers? And from your experience,
Absolutely.
How many people actually do?
You get a good idea of an individual by what the pipeline is. Because if they're good at managing it and they're good at progressing it and good at maintaining it and getting out the other side, because why would you not want to when you're self-employed? But if you don't know your numbers, you're either too good to care about your numbers and you just don't have time because you're just too busy writing business, or you don't want to look at numbers because they'll give you the truth. Reality is that you're not where you need to be. Yeah. And you're not earning what you want. Know your numbers because they will help you understand where the missing links are in your business to earn the money you want to earn.
I completely agree with everything you're saying there. I think your pipeline is so important to stay on top of. Now, if you want to increase your sales, you want to close more deals, then check out this video right now on screen where I break down how you can close more deals as a mortgage broker, get people to say yes to you when sometimes they just won't do it. Check it out.